Hello and welcome to NT320 Wireless Networking Fundamentals. This is week 4 presentation, Wireless LAN Architecture. In this presentation, we will focus on the building blocks of a wireless local area network. So, this includes understanding stations, basic service sets, and the distribution service. We will also be looking at these three components as the basic architectural components that make up a wireless LAN. So let's examine these architectural components. We will begin with the station. The station is any 802.11 wireless addressable unit. Now, a station is really a logical concept and not necessarily a physical computer. That is to say that, for instance, a laptop computer or a desktop computer can have multiple radios in that device, and each one of them could be a station on the wireless LAN. So again, it's any wireless addressable unit. When we work with stations, a station exists within a coverage area that is either provided by an access point, or it is the area in which stations can participate in what's called an independent basic set. We'll examine BSS later on in the upcoming slides. Now let's look at the basic service sets component of a wireless LAN architecture. We have the BSS as well as one of these components of the 802.11 wireless network architecture. If you are using 802.11 to communicate, then you have a basic service set. That's a fundamental concept that we need to grasp. The basic set then acts as the core unit on which we build small and large wireless networks. When we work with stations, a station exists within a coverage area that is either provided by an access point, that is, an infrastructure, or it is the area in which stations can participate in what's called an independent basic set. So, depending on whether we have a basic service set that is an infrastructure basic service set or one that is an independent basic service set, it will determine how the basic service area is created. When you implement infrastructure basic service at the basic service area, it is effectively the area where you can connect to that access point. Now let's take a look at the basic service set ID. The BSS ID is usually the MAC address of the access point, but let's keep in mind that you can have one access point that drives multiple basic service sets. So this should not be thought of as a physical address. Remember that we have the infrastructure basic service set, which does require an access point. And then we have the independent basic service set, which is sometimes called the ad hoc network, and it does not require an access point. Now let's check this a little further as we understand the architectural components of wireless LAN. We also have the extended service set known as the ESS, and this is a set of one or more interconnected basic service sets. Now let's take a look at the distribution service. A distribution system medium connects two access points together, usually on the wired side. Now we can have a wireless distribution system, but they are rare unless it is a mesh BSS that we use for that purpose. In most cases, our access points connect to an Ethernet network, and when they connect to an Ethernet network, the Ethernet, which is the physical cabling, is the distribution system medium. The distribution system is a collection of connections and possibly routers in all the different things that allow stations to communicate and collaborate with other stations. Now let's look into the concept of the portal. There is something known as a portal. The portal is actually defined in the standard as the logical point at which the integration service is provided. The standard also defines the integration function. So what are these? Well, this is the function or the service that provides the function that takes care of translation, say from 802.0 to 802.3. As we can see, the frames of these two are different, so we have to have some way to do some translation. This integration service takes place within this logical thing called the portal. Now, we call it the logical thing because in most cases it is in the access point, but technically speaking, it doesn't have to be so. So the access point in most implementation is going to manage the connection to the distribution system, which is the portal, and it provides the integration services function. Well, these are the core building blocks of the 802.11 architecture. As we can see, we have the building blocks, the basic service set, which can either be an independent basic service set or infrastructure basic service set. And then we have the extended service set as well, the distribution service, the portal. Now, to be very practical, the way this tends to be implemented is that we use an access point to implement a BSS, and then another access point to implement a BSS, and we plug these two access points into an Ethernet network. The Ethernet network gives us our distribution system media. Then we have this capability of the integration between the access point distribution services and the Ethernet networks through this thing called the portal. And this allows communications to actually happen. So that's a quick overview of wireless LAN architecture and the pieces and components associated with it. We have reached the end of this presentation, and I would like to thank you for watching and listening.